Rambam, we are going to learn a few laws of divorce. Chapter 5. Torah's expression says he will place it in her hand, meaning the bill of divorce has to be placed in her hand. Need not be interpreted only according to strict literal meaning, that the get must be placed in her hand, regardless of whether the get is placed in her hand, her bosom, or her courtyard, or is given to her agent, whom she charged that his hand should be as her hand. The same law applies, right? It's the same idea. That's what Torah means. Same law applies to a courtyard that she acquired, one that she rented, or one that is lent to her. They are all considered to be her property. And once the get reaches her property, the divorce is effective. Okay. So this is the general principle, right? This is the general principle, is that when it means the verse to her hand, it doesn't mean literally. That's what our sages explain those words. And it means to her property or something that's an extension of her. And the rest of the chapter is going to go into such crazy nuance. I should say crazy, but nuance of this to explain the uniqueness of this law, the parameters of this law. So following laws apply when a man throws a get to his wife into her courtyard. If she's standing next to the courtyard, the divorce is effective. Otherwise, to her hand means something that belongs to her, the extension of her. Her courtyard is an extension of her. It's her property, right? And we'll see courtyard, because the courtyard is fenced in. If it would be an open area, so that would be a different story, right? She's not standing, and here she has to be standing next to it. If she is not standing next to the courtyard, the divorce is not effective until she stands next to the courtyard. These principles apply even if the get will be guarded in the courtyard in which it is placed. The rationale is that divorce is considered to be a liability, not an advantage for the woman. The liability may not be invoked against a person outside of his or her presence, right? Either she's getting divorced, it's a liability. That's how halachically it's viewed. Even though maybe she wants a divorce, but it's still a liability. And without getting into details on that, that's how it's viewed halachically. And therefore, she needs to be present, that it could be thrown onto her property, but she has to be there. And therefore, her property becomes an extension of her. And that's what it means, because the verse says in Deuteronomy very clearly that the get, the bill of divorce, has to be given to her in hand. So in hand, again, is not literally in hand, but it means the extension of that hand. And that's what we're giving the parameters of this. Now, number 3, the rules apply when a get given in the following situation: when standing on her roof and her husband is standing in the courtyard that is located below it. He throws the get upwards to her. Once the get reaches, by the way, again, no one's doing this, right? The fact that the Rambam is giving these crazy scenarios is only to give us the parameter of the law, so we know to what extent, right? What's the boundary of this law? It's done, in a very, but this is Torah, and we have to know the law and the parameter of the law. Just say, hey, get down from the roof so I could give this to you, right? Oh, that's not the point. And once it reaches the space of the guardrail to her roof, or comes within 3 handbreadths of the roof, when her roof does not have a guardrail, the divorce is effective. This applies provided the get ultimately comes to rest on her roof, right? That's only because it will fall on the roof, because if it didn't fall onto the roof, then it's not effective. If, however, the writing of the get is erased, or the get is consumed by a fire before it reaches her, Yeah, what happens if there's a fire, right? And it reaches the fire first before it reached her. Divorce is not effective because it didn't come to her in a hand or the extension of her hand. This applies either the get is erased or consumed by fire after it passes the barriers of the woman's property or after it reaches within 3 handles of the roof. The rationale says since the get did not come to rest in complete state, it is void. So it has to come to be, actually, she's on the roof, so it has to fall on the roof ultimately. If it doesn't do that, then it is not affected the divorce. Okay. Okay, sorry, got to go now, but God bless. I just wanted to get at least something in from the Rambam. Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi Fine.
God bless. We'll